What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Colorado Braap channel. My name is Adam. Thank you for coming on a ride with me today. This video is actually part 2 of 2 for Trail 627 in Rampart Range. If you haven't checked out part 1, I'll link to it up in the upper right hand corner as well as in the description. Now without further ado, this is Trail 627 part 2. Let's get into it. This is the start of 770, but it also continues on 627. Alright, so what were we talking about? I think we were talking about some beginner bikes. What would be good for you? What would be bad for you? Nothing's bad for you, but, you know, highly suggest the DRZ. It just is a great bike. It just really is. There's no two ways about it. It is a fantastic motorcycle. So this is the start of 770. Okay. I'll go do that someday. Today is for 627. Today is not for trails I haven't done before. Although I haven't done 627 down here, but I know how easy it is. So my DRZ left me wanting some more DRZ once I moved to the 690, and I never really felt comfortable on it. I don't know if it was the weight, if it was the suspension I had on it. I mean, the suspension was redone for someone a little heavier than me. Had a couple real nasty crashes on it. Fun on it. I mean, took it to the top of Peak 10 in Breckenridge, took it out here a bunch, took it to Buena Vista, whatever you want to call it. Took it all over, rode a lot of, ow, that hurt. That was a tree branch. There's those pit bikes again. Oh, these are parking spots. Oh, it's right here. Oh, this looks kind of fun. Maybe we could play on some rocks a little bit. That's getting clipped. Woo! Well, rocks have a bit of grip on them, and these tires seem to be a little grippy. I was just kind of a surprise there. I guess I probably should check out the rocks beforehand. See if there's any drops. That'd be a fun one to hit the other way. Let's look at this one. Oh, that one we can roll. We can go slow up here. So this is fun. Alright. If you're heading down, go just south of the Flat Rocks campground on 627. You can have yourself a little play date. All right, we're back on it. I got very lucky there, by the way. I will be honest, I was not covering the rear brake. Luckily, I was in first. Was able to pop it up, let the engine braking do the rest for me. We've got Trail 627 reroute. I mean, it looks like a legit sign, so we're gonna take the reroute, eh? Let's go to it. Whoa. What's up, Bunny? This is kind of eerie. I think we're gonna do a part 1 and part 2 of this. This trail's long enough. It's different enough. We're gonna see where this goes. I honestly have no idea. They haven't updated the map, but good news is 627 is meant to, I think it is meant to stay by the roads, so this is cool. Well, thank you all for coming on a ride with me today, because I wouldn't have gone this far. That is for sure. And I wouldn't have seen all of this. This is awesome. Look at those aspens. They're beautiful. Popping right now. Hey, you know what? If I only get to ride one trail today, I'm glad it's this one, and I'm glad y'all are coming along for the ride. This is cool. So in my last video, in part 1 of this trail, I was definitely talking about beginner bikes and stuff. And, you know, I've talked to a lot of people over the years that I've been riding off-road, and I feel like I'm finally comfortable enough to really kind of give a little bit of some advice on beginner bikes for going from street to dirt, right? My advice for the most part is go as light as you can. Power is not necessarily your friend. I know I'm riding a high horsepower KTM 500, but starting out, power can actually be your enemy if you don't know how to control your right wrist. I dumped a lot of it, a lot of times on my DRZ, simply because I'm going on stuff and I gave it too much power. But, you know, piece of advice number 2, if anyone's listening, is be honest with the type of riding you want to do, right? Do you want to ride trails like this? Do you want to ride an adventure bike to beautiful vistas, but cover, you know, 200 miles in a day comfortably? I've done 200 miles on this in a day. Oh, what do we got here? Okay. I've done 200 miles on this in a day. My butt hurt for about a week, and I've got a Seat Concept seat on here. wasn't the most fun. It was beautiful, but it wasn't the most fun. I think we're getting back to the road. Oh, nice. Got a good spot to stop up here for a sec. Okay. We're back on it. Alright, so here's the deal. Be honest with the type of riding you want to do and the type of riding you can do. I know quite a few people who bought like a big R1250 GS or something like that, went and spent like 20 grand on it, put the biggest name brand parts you could imagine on it, and then sold it like 2 years later after they've only put 1,000 miles on it. Because that's a round the world bike. It's not a day trip type motorcycle where okay, I have an hour to ride or whatever, let me quick load up on my bike and go off-road or whatever. Because you just can't. That bike's for getting out in the boonies, and it's just not that fun to ride on these kind of trails. You have a buddy who was honest about how he rode and figured it out over years, and he was a teacher, so he had all summer off, and he bought a Super Tenere and put, I think, close to 50,000 miles on it in like 4 years. And for him, that purchase is worth it because 3 months out of the year, he's just riding all over the country. He also had a Ducati Desert Sled, and I think he was getting a Tenere 700 for lighter stuff. Good rider, but he'll even admit he made the mistake early on of just buying something that didn't fit him. So that kind of brings me a little bit into my next point is go cheap. You're not going to be, your first bike you buy is probably not going to be your last, because you're going to go, like I do, and do about a bajillion hours of research on the internet and say, okay, here's what I want to do. Everybody says the KLR 650 is the perfect jack of all trades motorcycle. Which, I've ridden a KLR. They will do anything that you feel like you can do on them. And I think that's a good way to put it, because they'll do this, kinda. If you're a good rider on a KLR, you'll easily beat me on this. If you're a novice rider on a KLR, it'll do it. It'll get through it. And I really suggest this trail for it. But the KLR is going to tell you what it doesn't want you to take it on. Because you're going to look at a trail and you're going to be like, we should turn around, right? Because it's heavy. It's heavy to pick up. It's slow. It doesn't have that snappy power. Although maybe the new fuel injected ones do. I haven't ridden one of those. But if you're thinking about buying a KLR, and I'm not trying to tell you not to, because they are fantastic bikes, buy an old one. There's so many of them that can be had for $2,000 with everything you already want to do on it, and the KLR will run probably longer than I am alive. Those things are bulletproof, and at the end of the day, it's 2 wheels. It's fun. But if you buy an old one for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 or whatever, you're probably gonna get that money back out of it in a year or two if you decide, you know, that's not for you. My dad had one. He's got a Goldwing. He bought a KLR to complement his Goldwing as like I'll take it on, you know, trails or whatever, but I also need to do 60-mile-an-hour roads. And he ended up selling it, replacing it with a KLX 250S, which is another one I would highly suggest looking at. Absolutely loves it. In fact, you'll probably see it here in a video in a couple weeks, because I'm heading back to Michigan to go ride some dunes with him for a bit. But, you know, that point still stands of buy something cheap. And if we're talking about that kind of stuff, one of the reasons I'm saying buy cheap and buy used and go as light as you can. For one, a lighter bike is way more confidence inspiring. Let's see here. Come on. There we go. It just is. It's so much more confidence inspiring. Even going from a 690, which was about 350, to this thing. Oh, that's nice of these guys. Thank you. Going from a 690 to the 500, I mean, this thing is extremely confidence inspiring. Right. I think we're getting kind of close to the end of this trail. I'm not sure. But I think we are. So, finish up chatting about some beginner stuff. You know, I think having a bike that you can pick up is just, and pick up several times, right? You're gonna drop your first off-road motorcycle. You are going to. And if you're afraid to because it's too expensive or it's too heavy and you don't know if you can handle it by yourself, you're not going to have that much fun. And I can show you, right? I've definitely dropped this one. I love this bike. It was expensive. I mean, it was used, but nice bike. Full KTM 6 days action. Love that they have these little spots where you can pass without any issue. 657 coming up here. We are doing 627's this way. That says 650, so I think we have reached the end. Or maybe not. Nope, 627. Let's go. This is fun. So yeah, I highly suggest looking at something other than a KLR. I'm thinking that's still 627 down there. Dutch Fred Trailhead. Okay, I know where we are. We're pretty far south now. But we'll keep going. We'll keep heading out. I think we'll run into the road, and that's where it ends. And I'll take a little bit of a video on Rampart Range Road, just so you guys know what to expect. A little redirect was really fun though. But, you know, look into a DRZ, look into a DR650, look into a KLX 250 or 300, look into a CRF 300L. Those are obviously going to be more expensive. You can get a 250 for pretty cheap. I know everyone looks for a unicorn bike, and what I will say is there's no one unicorn bike, right? Unicorn meaning it hits the trifecta of like cheap to maintain with super long service intervals, decent horsepower, and decently lightweight. There just isn't one. I think the closest you're going to find is the WR250R. If you can find one of those, man, those are fantastic. I know a lot of people have also thrown big bore kits in them. I think I saw one the other day that, like, I don't know, it was like a 360 big bore kit or something like that. And then you got a sub 300 pound motorcycle with good suspension, long service intervals, and a lot of power. But that's a lot of work, especially for your first bike. You know, like I said, there's no unicorn bike, but there's a unicorn bike for what you want to do. If you want to hit gnarly single track, my friend, I'm with you, I do too. Get a two-stroke. Get a light two-stroke. Something you can really, you know, just handle around really easily. That was a fun hill climb. Oh, that's good training for stuff out here in Colorado. You're gonna have a lot of those on any trails you go on. Especially two-track, I mean. Just super soft on the inside. Wow. I haven't ridden this section. I really like it. So the 500 is kind of the unicorn bike for me. I can load it onto the truck by myself easily. I can ride trails like this. I can ride single track. I can do long days on it. It's not great, but I'll be honest, I don't have a whole lot of time to do super long days. You know, my time to ride is pretty much Saturday mornings. Try and get out here as early as I can and ride for a couple hours, and then I have to head home and get back to real life. As unfortunate as that is, as you get older, it's just what happens. So if you are like me and you're just riding for a couple hours on the weekend, you know, grab a 500. Truck it to the trails, camp out of the truck. Have some fun with it. Speaking of having fun.
Alright, you guys, that was the end of Trail 627 in Rampart Range. Thanks for coming on a ride with me. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Once again, my name's Adam. This is the Colorado Braap channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.